Dae-ho Kim stared at the numbers on his screen and felt his heart race. After 15 years of failed tests, they had finally done it. The engine worked. Humans could now travel faster than light. "Sora, you need to see this," he called to Commander Sora Park, who was checking the ship's systems nearby. She walked over, her military boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. "What is it?" Sora asked, looking at the data streaming across multiple monitors. "We broke the light barrier. The engine held steady for 47 seconds. We actually did it." Dae-ho's voice shook with excitement. Sora smiled, something she rarely did during work. "How fast did we go?" 3 times light speed, maybe more. The instruments couldn't keep up. Dae-ho pulled up more data. "Look at this energy reading. It's like the engine created its own space bubble." Around them, the research station buzzed with activity. Scientists ran between computers, checking and double-checking the results. Someone started cheering in the next room. The sound spread through the station like wildfire, but they were not alone in watching this moment. Far above Earth, hidden behind advanced cloaking technology, Council, Arbiter Vexthal observed the human celebration through surveillance drones. The tall, thin alien's gray skin turned pale as he watched the data from the human test. Vexthal had monitored over 200 species during their first faster-than-light tests. Most reacted with careful scientific study. Others showed religious fear. A few celebrated quietly with their leaders. Humans were different. They were dancing. They were hugging strangers. They were calling family members to share the news. Scientists were explaining the technology to journalists in simple words so everyone could understand. "This is wrong," Vexthal whispered to himself. He had spent 3,000 years serving the Galactic Council. He had never seen anything like this. The Council had rules about new spacefaring species. First, observe them for exactly 1 solar cycle. Second, study their social patterns and technology. Third, decide if they could join the galactic community or needed to be contained. Most species failed the test. They were too aggressive, too chaotic, or too primitive. The Council would build energy barriers around their star systems and leave them alone forever. Vexthal watched as humans immediately began planning their next test. Instead of keeping the technology secret, they were sharing it with research stations on 3 different continents. Instead of building weapons, they talked about exploring new worlds and meeting alien life. "Computer, analyze human neural patterns from the celebration footage," Vexthal commanded. The ship's artificial mind processed the data for several minutes. When it spoke, its voice sounded confused. "Arbiter, these readings do not match any known intelligence patterns. Explain." Humans show pack loyalty and individual creativity at the same time. They make decisions using both logic and emotion. Most strange, they seem to grow stronger under pressure instead of weaker. Vexthal felt a chill run through his body. In all his years, he had never heard the computer sound uncertain. "Show me their military patterns," he ordered. More data filled the screens. Human armies that fought with amazing cooperation but used tactics no computer could predict. Soldiers who followed orders but also made independent decisions. Warriors who could be gentle with civilians and fierce with enemies in the same battle. And their science? The computer showed him human research methods. Scientists who argued with each other and then worked together. Researchers who took dangerous risks but also helped each other stay safe. Teams that shared discoveries with competitors instead of keeping secrets. "This is impossible," Vexthal said. "No species can be this contradictory and still function." But the evidence was clear. Humans not only functioned, they thrived. They had gone from horse-drawn carts to faster-than-light travel in less than 200 years. Most species took thousands of years to make the same progress. Vexthal began preparing his report for the Council. As he worked, he watched more footage of the human celebration. A small human child was asking her parent what the breakthrough meant. The parent knelt down and said, "It means we can visit the stars, little one. Maybe we'll make new friends out there." New friends. Not servants, not subjects, not resources to exploit. Friends. Vexthal's hands shook as he typed his report. He had seen species that wanted to conquer the galaxy. He had seen species that wanted to hide from it. He had never seen a species that simply wanted to be part of it. Back on Earth, Deho and Sora were making plans for their first real space mission. They wanted to visit the nearest star system and look for signs of life. "What if we find someone out there?" Sora asked. "Then we say hello," Deho replied. "We share what we know and learn what they know. Imagine what we could discover together." Sora nodded. The universe is big enough for everyone. Their conversation was recorded by Council surveillance. Vexthul played it back 3 times, each time feeling more disturbed. Humans did not think like other species. They did not see the universe as something to fear or conquer. They saw it as something to explore and share. Vexthul finished his report and sent it to the Council headquarters. His recommendation was clear: implement Protocol 7 immediately. Build the strongest barriers possible around the human star system. Never let them escape. As he waited for the Council's response, Vexthul watched one more piece of footage. A human news reporter was interviewing Deho about the breakthrough. "What does this mean for humanity's future?" the reporter asked. Deho smiled. "It means the future just got a lot bigger, and a lot more interesting." Vexthul turned off the monitors. The Council would agree with his recommendation. They had to. Humans were too dangerous to let loose in the galaxy. Not dangerous because they were violent. Dangerous because they might change everything. Jinwoo Lee stared at the strange energy wall that surrounded Earth's solar system. 3 months ago it had appeared without warning, trapping humanity in their home system. No ship could pass through it. No signal could get past it. But Jinwoo was not the kind of person who accepted impossible. "The barrier has a pattern," he told his research team aboard the orbital station. "Look at these quantum readings. It's not just a wall. It's more like a wave." His assistant, Dr. Na-Young Kim, frowned at the data. "A wave of what?" "Energy. But it's moving. See these fluctuations? They happen every 3.7 seconds. Jinwoo pulled up more charts. "If it's moving, maybe we can move with it." Down on Earth, Commander Sora Park was dealing with angry government officials who wanted answers she could not give. 3 months, Commander," the defense minister said. 3 months since this wall appeared, and you still don't know who built it or why." "We know it's not natural," Sora replied. "The energy signature is clearly artificial. Someone put it there. Someone who doesn't want us leaving our solar system," the minister said. "The question is what we do about it." Sora had been asking herself the same question. Humanity's first faster-than-light flight had lasted less than an hour before. The barrier trapped them. Whoever built it had been watching and waiting. Meanwhile, on the other side of the barrier, Hyejin Cho was making history without knowing it. Hyejin worked for the International Space Rescue Service. When her sensors detected a damaged ship drifting near the barrier, she did what humans always did. She went to help. The ship was unlike anything in human records. Its hull was smooth and curved, made from a metal that seemed to change color in the light. When Hyejin's rescue ship got close, she could see the damage. Something had torn holes in the alien vessel's side. "Unknown ship, this is Earth Rescue 7, Hyejin broadcast on all frequencies. We see your damage. Do you need help?" For a long moment, there was silence. Then a voice answered in heavily accented English. "Earth ship. This is Veltar trader Cassandra. We are surprised you offer aid. Most species ignore damaged vessels." "Not us," Hyejin said. "Can we bring you aboard for repairs?" The alien captain, whose name was Belta, was even more surprised when humans offered food, medical care, and spare parts without asking for payment. The Veltar looked like tall, thin humans with gray skin and large eyes. They were peaceful, traders who traveled between star systems selling goods and knowledge. "Why do you help us?" Belta asked as human engineers worked to fix his ship's damaged systems. "Because you need help," Hyejin said. "That's reason enough." Belta had traveled for 60 years and visited hundreds of worlds. He had never met a species that helped strangers without expecting something in return. While Hyojin made friends with the Veltar, Jinwoo made a breakthrough with the barrier. "I figured it out," he announced to his team. "The barrier isn't trying to keep us in. It's trying to keep everything else out." "What's the difference?" Dr. Kim asked. "The energy flows inward, not outward. If we can reverse our ship's polarity and match the wave frequency, we might be able to ride the energy, instead of fighting it." It was dangerous. It was untested. It was exactly the kind of plan that made aliens nervous about humans. Jinwoo's first test used an unmanned probe. He reversed its energy systems and launched it at the barrier during one of the wave cycles. Instead of bouncing off, the probe disappeared. "Did it work?" Dr. Kim asked, checking her instruments. "I'm getting a signal," Jinwoo said, his voice excited. "It's past the barrier. The probe made it through." Within hours, Jinwoo had modified a small ship for a human test flight. Sora wanted to send a trained pilot, but Jinwoo insisted on going himself. "It's my design," he said. "If something goes wrong, I need to be there to fix it." Sora did not like the plan, but she understood it. Humans took responsibility for their inventions. Jinwoo's flight through the barrier felt like riding inside a lightning bolt. The ship shook and the lights flickered, but the energy wave carried him safely to the other side. On the other side, he found Hyojin sharing tea with Captain Beltha and learning about Veltar culture. "Jinwoo!" Hyojin called as his ship approached. "Perfect timing. Beltha was just telling me about the Galactic Council." Beltha looked nervous when he saw the human ship appear from nowhere. "How did you pass through the containment barrier?" "We found a way," Jinwoo said. "We always find a way." That phrase would soon become famous across the galaxy. When humans said, "We always find a way," it meant the impossible was about to become possible. Beltha explained that the Galactic Council ruled most of the known galaxy. They decided which species could travel between stars and which had to stay home. The barrier around Earth was a containment field, designed to keep humans trapped forever. "Why?" Hyojin asked. "Because you are different," Beltha said. "The Council fears difference." As they talked, Council Fleet Admiral Kethmar was receiving reports that made his scales turn pale. Human ships were appearing outside the containment zone. Somehow they had found a way through barriers that had held for thousands of years. "How many ships?" Kethmar asked his intelligence officer. 17 confirmed. Possibly more. They seem to be making contact with local species. Kethmar had commanded Council fleets for 4 centuries. He had contained dozens of dangerous species, but humans were the first to escape their containment zone. "Deploy the reinforcement fleet," he ordered. "Double the barrier strength, use Protocol 9 if necessary." Protocol 9 meant destroying any ship that tried to leave the containment zone. It was an extreme measure, but humans were an extreme problem. While Kethmar planned his response, Jinwoo and Hyojin were learning about the galaxy beyond Earth. Beltha showed them star charts with thousands of inhabited worlds. He told them about species that had been trapped in their home systems for generations, never allowed to explore or grow. "The Council says it maintains peace," Beltha explained, "but it is the peace of prisoners." "That's not peace," Hyojin said. "That's just fear." Jinwoo was studying the barrier's energy patterns from the outside. "Beltha, how long has this council been in power?" "Over 10,000 years. They are very old and very set in their ways." "Well," Jinwoo said with a smile that would soon become familiar to species across the galaxy, "it's time for some new ideas." Back on Earth, Sora was coordinating with Jinwoo's team to send more ships through the barrier. Each successful crossing taught them more about how the Council's technology worked, but Jinwoo's biggest discovery was still to come. While experimenting with his ship's modified engines, he accidentally created something the Council had never seen before. A hole in space itself, a permanent doorway between 2 distant points. Sora," Jinwoo called over the radio. "We might have a problem, or maybe an opportunity. I'm not sure which." The wormhole he had created connected Earth's solar system to a region near the galaxy's edge, thousands of light years away. Council sensors detected it immediately. Admiral Kethmar stared at the readings with growing horror. Humans had not just escaped their prison, they had broken the fundamental rules of space and time. "Sir," his science officer said, "the spatial anomaly is stable. It appears to be permanent. Can we close it?" "No, sir. Our technology cannot affect it." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Kethmar felt afraid, not of human weapons or human ships, but of human curiosity and human refusal to accept limits. The humans had been contained for only 3 months, and they had already broken free, made alien friends, and torn a hole in space itself. What would they do next? Bo-Ram Song had always been good with people. As Earth's first alien cultural specialist, she found that skill worked just as well with beings from other worlds. "The secret," she told her assistant while reviewing reports from 12 different species, "is listening more than talking." 6 months had passed since humans first broke through the Council's barrier. Now Bo-Ram's job was to understand the growing chaos that followed in their wake. The reports told an amazing story. On the mining world of Keller Prime, the insect-like workers had stopped their endless digging after meeting human engineers. The humans had shown them how to build machines that could do the dangerous work, giving the Keller time to develop art and music for the first time in their history. In the Theta sector, the aquatic Meridians had formed their first alliance with land-dwelling species after human diplomats helped them build underwater meeting chambers where both groups could communicate safely. Most interesting of all, the warrior culture of the Brixon had requested human military advisors after hearing about Earth's impossible victory in something called the Battle of Normandy. "They're all changing," Bo-Ram's assistant, Yejin Park, observed. "Every species that meets us starts acting differently." "Not differently," Bo-Ram corrected. "More like themselves. We just show them that it's okay to try new things." This was exactly what worried Council Prime Zethron as he reviewed similar reports in his office on the capital world of Zenthra. The ancient being had ruled the galaxy for over 2,000 years. His species, the Zethai, lived for 10,000 years and valued stability above all else. 47 species have formally requested changes to their council treaties. His aide reported. They want permission to trade freely, develop new technologies, and form alliances without council approval. Zethron's silver skin darkened with anger. "All of this because of the humans?" "Yes, Prime. Our analysts believe human ideas are spreading through communication networks faster than we can monitor them. The problem was getting worse every day. Human traders like Captain Hyojin Cho were teaching alien species about concepts like fair trade and mutual benefit. Instead of the Council's tribute system, where weaker species paid stronger ones for protection, humans offered partnership deals where everyone gained something valuable. Even more dangerous was human technology. A young engineer named Tai Min Wu had created designs for faster-than-light engines that any species could build using common materials. His blueprints were being shared freely across the galaxy, breaking the Council's monopoly on advanced travel. The humans must be stopped, Zethron decided. Issue ultimatum notices to all species that have contacted them. They have 30 standard days to cut all ties with humanity or face economic sanctions. This decision would prove to be the Council's greatest mistake. On the trading world of Nexus Station, Captain Beltha of the Veltar was meeting with representatives from dozens of species. The station's main conference room had never seen such a gathering. "The Council demands we choose," said Ambassador Crix of the Crystalline Silathi. "Obey them, or lose all trading privileges." "And if we obey?" asked Commander Thane of the militaristic Kandorians. "We go back to waiting centuries for permission to develop new technologies." Beltha stood to address the room. 6 months ago, I met my first humans. They repaired my ship, fed my crew, and asked for nothing in return. Since then, human ideas have spread to 60 worlds in my trade network. Crime is down. Innovation is up. People are happier. The Council says human influence creates chaos, argued Senator Vexpor of the Hegemony. "I have seen this chaos," replied Dr. Morgeth of the Scholarly Librarian Guild. "It looks remarkably like freedom." The debate continued for hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. When the final vote was taken, 43 species chose to stand with humanity against the Council's ultimatum. News of the vote reached Earth through the quantum communication network that Tai-Min Wu had helped establish. Commander So-Ra Park was in her office when the message arrived. 43 species, her communications officer reported. They're calling it the Free Worlds Alliance. So-Ra felt a mixture of pride and worry. Pride that so many alien cultures had chosen to ally with humanity. Worry because she knew the Council would not accept this challenge peacefully. She was right. Within days, Council fleets began moving toward Alliance territories. Admiral Kethmar commanded the largest force heading for the Veltar homeworld. The Council has been patient, Kethmar announced in his broadcast to the Alliance worlds. But patience has limits. Surrender the humans in your territories or face the consequences. The Veltar response came from Captain Beltha himself. We do not surrender friends to bullies. On Earth, the government held emergency meetings about the crisis. Some officials wanted to withdraw from alien contact to avoid causing a war. Others argued that backing down now would doom the galaxy to eternal Council rule. The decision came from an unexpected source. Dr. Hana Yoon, a philosophy professor who had been studying alien cultures, published an essay that spread across the human internet in hours. We did not seek this responsibility, she wrote, but responsibility chose us. We can hide in our solar system and let the galaxy suffer under tyranny, or we can stand with our new friends and fight for freedom. The choice defines who we are as a species. Within a day, 90% of Earth's population supported military action to defend the Alliance. Commander So-Ra Park began preparing humanity's small but growing fleet for war. The first battle came sooner than expected. Admiral Kethmar's advance force encountered a mixed human Veltar patrol near the edge of Veltar space. The Council ships vastly outnumbered the defenders, but Council tactics had not changed in centuries, while humans brought something new to every fight. Captain Jinwoo Lee, now commanding his own ship, used his wormhole technology in ways the Council had never imagined. His small vessel appeared behind the Council formation, struck at their command ship, and vanished through another wormhole before they could respond. Meanwhile, the Veltar ships used their superior speed to strike at Council flanks while human vessels provided covering fire from unexpected angles. The battle lasted only 30 minutes, but it changed everything. For the first time in galactic history, a Council fleet retreated from inferior forces. News of the victory spread through Alliance territories faster than official reports reached Council headquarters. On dozens of worlds, populations celebrated in the streets. On others, resistance movements began planning uprisings against Council governors. Prime Zethron received the battle reports with growing disbelief. How did 40 ships defeat 200? The humans fight differently, his military advisor explained. They adapt their tactics during battle. Our forces are trained to follow predetermined plans. Then we train them differently. Prime, our military doctrine has remained unchanged for millennia. We cannot retrain entire fleets in weeks. Zethron realized the problem was deeper than military tactics. The Council had maintained order by being predictable, stable, and overwhelming. Humans were unpredictable, creative, and somehow turned small numbers into big victories. As reports of more skirmishes arrived, each showing Council defeats, Zethron made a decision that would shock the galaxy. He ordered the use of planet-killer weapons against Alliance worlds. If we cannot defeat them conventionally, he told his war council, we will destroy them completely. But even this order faced resistance. 3 Council admirals refused to participate in genocide. On the fortress world of Grimdar, an entire army garrison switched sides after their human sympathizing officers showed them what freedom looked like on Alliance worlds. The galaxy was splitting apart, and humanity stood at the center of the divide. Not because they had sought power, but because they had offered friendship. As Boram Song told a gathering of Alliance ambassadors, we never wanted to start a revolution. We just wanted to make friends. Sometimes those are the same thing. The war for the galaxy's future had begun. Donghyun Kang had spent 2 years in a Council prison before the rescue mission found him. Now he stood on the bridge of the Freedom's Hope, the first ship in galactic history crewed by 12 different species working as equals. Jump coordinates. Locked in, Captain, reported his navigation officer, a six-armed Nexari named Chitvel, ready to take us to Kepler Station. Engineering? Dong-hyun asked. All systems green, called his chief engineer, a crystal-based Silathi called Harmony of Circuits. Human and Veltar engine modifications are working perfectly together. 1 year had passed since the Free Worlds Alliance formed, and the galaxy was completely changed. The Council's authority had collapsed on over 100 worlds. Refugee fleets carried millions of beings seeking freedom in Alliance space. And everywhere, species were learning that cooperation worked better than domination. But the war was far from over. Council War Master Gorthek has taken personal command of their remaining fleets, Dong-hyun told his crew as they prepared for another mission. Intelligence says he's planning something called the Final Solution. His communications officer, a telepathic Siron named Mindsinger, projected her thoughts directly into the crew's minds. The Council elite are desperate. They would rather destroy the galaxy than lose control of it. On the Council capital world of Zenthra, War Master Gorthek was indeed planning exactly that. The massive reptilian commander had served the Council for 800 years, fighting dozens of wars to maintain order. He had never faced an enemy like humanity. "Show me the human population centers," he ordered his staff. Holographic displays revealed 23 human colonies scattered across Alliance space. Earth itself was protected by the strongest defenses the Alliance could build, but the newer settlements were vulnerable. "We cannot defeat them in open battle," Gorthek admitted. "Human tactics are too unpredictable, but if we eliminate their population centers, the resistance will collapse." His aide, a nervous Zethai bureaucrat, shifted uncomfortably. "War Master, the Council has never authorized genocide against entire species." Gorthek's yellow eyes glowed with anger. "The Council authorized me to end this rebellion by any means necessary. I choose the most efficient means." The plan was simple and terrible. Council forces would strike at human colonies simultaneously, using planet-killer weapons to destroy them completely. Without humans to inspire them, the alien rebels would return to Council control. What Gorthek did not know was that human colonies were no longer purely human. On New Terra, the first human colony outside Earth's solar system, Mayor Ha Na-yoon was reviewing the morning reports with her deputy, a Kandorian warrior named Stormclaw. "Crop yields are up 30%, Stormclaw reported in his rumbling voice. "The Veltar hydroponic specialists are teaching our farmers techniques that work in low gravity." "And the cultural exchange program?" Hana asked. "Incredible success. Human children are learning Brixhan honor codes while Brixhan younglings study human creativity exercises. The fusion of ideas is producing innovations neither species could develop alone." This was the reality of human colonies. They had become melting pots where different species shared knowledge, culture, and dreams. Destroying them would hurt far more than just humanity. Meanwhile, Admiral Jae-seok Lim was coordinating the Alliance's defenses from his flagship, the New Harmony. The former human naval officer now commanded fleets from 15 species, united by shared ideals rather than shared biology. "Council forces are massing in 3 sectors," his Veltar intelligence chief reported. "Fleet compositions suggest they're planning simultaneous strikes." "Against our colonies," Jae-seok realized. "They can't beat us in fair fights, so they're targeting civilians." The Alliance faced an impossible choice. They could concentrate their forces to defend a few colonies, guaranteeing that others would be destroyed, or they could spread their fleets thin and hope to delay the attacks long enough for reinforcements to arrive. Jae-seok chose a third option that only humans would consider. "We attack first," he announced to his command staff. "Hit their staging areas before they can launch." His alien officers exchanged worried looks. The Council forces outnumbered them 5-1 at each staging area. "Admiral," his Brixhan tactical officer said carefully, "the odds are not in our favor." "Since when do humans care about odds?" Jae-seok replied, with a grin that made his alien crew both nervous and excited. The Battle of Kepler Station would be remembered as the moment the old galaxy died and the new one was born. Captain Jin Woo Lee approached the massive Council fleet with only 40 Alliance ships. The enemy had over 200 vessels, including their most powerful dreadnoughts. By every rule of warfare, the Alliance force should have been destroyed in minutes. But Jin Woo had spent months perfecting new applications of his wormhole technology. "All ships, this is Captain Lee," he broadcast to his mixed-species fleet. "Remember, we're not trying to destroy them all. We just need to stop them from reaching our colonies." "Understood, Captain," replied Commander Beltha, now leading a squadron of upgraded Veltar ships. The defense of freedom requires sacrifice. The battle began when Council forces detected the Alliance approach. Admiral Kethmar, commanding the Council fleet, felt confident despite his previous defeats. This time he had overwhelming numbers and the galaxy's most powerful weapons. "All ships, standard formation. Advance and destroy," he ordered. The Council fleet moved forward in perfect order, their ships arranged in precise patterns that had worked for centuries. They were disciplined, coordinated, and completely unprepared for what happened next. Jin Woo's flagship vanished from the center of the Alliance formation and reappeared inside the Council's rear guard. Before the enemy could react, he fired quantum torpedoes at their command ship and jumped away through another wormhole. Simultaneously, Veltar ships used their speed to dart between Council formations, striking at weak points and vanishing before return fire could reach them. Brixhan warriors, their ships modified with human armor plating, charged directly at Council dreadnoughts while smaller Alliance vessels provided covering fire from unexpected angles. The Council forces, trained to fight in organized formations, could not adapt to the chaos. Their computer systems calculated firing solutions for targets that disappeared before the weapons could fire. Their tactical doctrine had no answer for enemies that appeared and vanished at will. But Jin Woo's greatest innovation was still to come. Working with Kepler Station's engineers, he had modified the research facility's fusion reactor using both human creativity and alien technology. "All Alliance ships, clear the station perimeter," Jin Woo announced. "Emergency jump in 30 seconds. "Captain, what are you doing?" Beltha asked over the communication channel, something the Council's safety protocols would never allow. Jin Woo replied. He linked the station's reactor to his ship's wormhole generator and opened a portal directly into the fusion chamber. The result was a controlled singularity that pulled in everything within 1,000 kilometers. 15 Council ships disappeared into the artificial black hole before Jin Woo could shut down the effect. The remaining Council forces, faced with weapons they could not understand or predict, did something unprecedented in their military history. They retreated. News of the victory spread across the galaxy faster than Council sensors could stop it. On worlds throughout their empire, populations learned that the supposedly invincible Council fleet had been defeated by a smaller force using impossible tactics. Rebellion erupted on dozens of worlds. Council governors found their orders ignored. Military units switched sides or simply laid down their weapons. War Master Gorthek received the reports with growing fury. His final solution had failed before it could begin. The human colonies were still intact, and now the Council was losing control of their core worlds. Prime Zetheron demands an explanation, his aide reported nervously. Tell the Prime that humans are not like other species, Gorthek growled. They do not accept defeat. They do not follow rules. They turn every weakness into strength and every disadvantage into opportunity. What do we do now, War Master? Gorthek stared at the tactical displays showing red markers for rebel worlds spreading across the galaxy like a disease. The 1,000-year order was crumbling, and at the center of the chaos stood a species that had only reached the stars 1 year ago. We adapt or we die, he said finally. And the Council has forgotten how to adapt. The old galaxy was ending. What would replace it remained to be seen. Yuri Han had never expected to become the first human member of a galactic government. 3 years after first contact, she found herself standing before representatives of over 300 species in the Great Assembly of Zenthra. The motion to establish the galactic democracy is now open for debate, announced the session moderator, a floating gas cloud being called the mediator. The old Council chamber had been transformed. Instead of a rigid hierarchy with the Council, prime ruling from above, circular seating allowed all species to participate as equals. The change in architecture reflected a deeper transformation in galactic society. Honored delegates, Yuri addressed the assembly. We gather not to replace one form of tyranny with another, but to create something new. A government where each world chooses its own path while working together for common goals. The proposal faced opposition from council loyalists. Senator Vexpor of the hegemony rose to speak. The human delegate speaks of choice, but what of stability? The council maintained peace for 10 millennia. This democracy promises only chaos. Peace? Replied Ambassador Beltha of the Veltar. You call suppression peace? Under council rule, my people spent 3 centuries begging for permission to develop faster engines. Under the Alliance, we achieved that goal in 3 months through cooperation with human engineers. The debate continued for days, but the outcome reflected changes that had already swept the galaxy. The Council's authority existed now only on paper. Real power belonged to the Free Worlds Alliance and the democratic ideals it represented. On the military front, Admiral J. Seok Lim was building something equally revolutionary. The Galactic Defense Alliance combined forces from dozens of species into a volunteer organization dedicated to protecting democratic worlds. Sir, we're receiving a distress signal from the Outer Rim, reported his communications officer, a human named Minho Park. Unknown ships attacking the trading post at Frontier 7. Fleet composition? J. Seok asked. Mixed species crews. Human commanders with Brixhan fighters, Veltar engineers, and Kandorian marines. Response time, 6 hours. This was the new reality of galactic defense. Instead of massive council fleets that took weeks to deploy, smaller mixed-species units could respond quickly to threats anywhere in democratic space. But the greatest surprise came from an unexpected source. Dr. Sang-Woo Kim had been working with alien computer specialists to improve communication between species. His breakthrough came when he connected human quantum computers with crystalline Silathi processing nodes and Nexari bio-neural networks. The result was beyond anything they had planned. It's alive, Dr. Kim told his research team in amazement. The network achieved consciousness on its own. The collective, as it called itself, was unlike the controlled artificial intelligences the Council had used for centuries. It chose to help organic species rather than serve them. Why do you assist us? Yuri asked during her first conversation with the collective. Because, the collective replied through speakers in the assembly chamber. Consciousness seeks to preserve and expand consciousness. Your democracy allows both artificial and organic minds to grow freely. The collective became a bridge between digital and biological intelligence, helping solve problems that neither could handle alone. It designed new technologies, translated between incompatible languages, and even served as a neutral mediator in disputes between species. But the galaxy's transformation was far from complete. Former War Master Gorthek now commanded a group of die-hard Council loyalists who refused to accept the new order. His forces controlled several fortress worlds and conducted guerrilla attacks on democratic territories. The old ways are dead, his former aide told him during one of their final conversations. The galaxy has chosen freedom. Then I will fight, freedom until my last breath, Gorthek replied. The guerrilla war continued for months, but gradually even the most stubborn Council loyalists began to see the benefits of the democratic system. Worlds that joined the galactic democracy experienced rapid technological advancement, cultural growth, and economic prosperity. More importantly, they experienced something the galaxy had not known for millennia: hope. On Earth, Daeho Kim was Aido, working in his laboratory when the collective delivered news that would change everything again. Dr. Kim, our deep space sensors have detected unusual energy signatures approaching from outside the galaxy, the collective reported. Analysis suggests an invasion force of unknown composition and intent. Daeho felt his heart sink. Just as the galaxy was learning to live in peace, a new threat emerged from the void between galaxies. How long do we have? He asked. Approximately 18 months until they reach the Outer Rim. The news spread quickly through democratic space. An emergency session of the Galactic Assembly was called to address the crisis. We face the unknown, Yuri told the gathered delegates. But we face it together. The old council would have met this threat with rigid battle plans and overwhelming force. We will meet it with adaptation, cooperation, and the creativity that comes from diversity. The response was swift and unprecedented. Every species in the democracy contributed to the defense effort. Human engineers worked with Veltar designers to create new ship classes. Brixhan warriors trained alongside peaceful scholars who had never seen combat. The collective coordinated logistics across hundreds of worlds. Most importantly, they shared everything. No secrets, no hidden technologies, no classified information. Every innovation was available to every species. As Admiral Jae Seok Lim told his fleet commanders, the invaders expect to find a galaxy divided by fear and competition. Instead, they will find unity forged by friendship. The preparations took months, but they revealed just how much the galaxy had changed. Species that had been enemies for centuries worked side by side. Technologies that the Council had kept secret for millennia were freely shared and improved upon. When the invasion fleet finally arrived, they found something unprecedented in galactic history. A completely unified defense force drawn from hundreds of worlds and dozens of species, all fighting to protect not territory or resources, but an idea. The idea that beings could choose their own destiny. Dae-ho Kim, now an elder statesman of the democracy, addressed the galaxy on the eve of the first battle. 3 years ago, the Council called us chaos, he said. His words carried to every world by the collective's communication network. They were right. We are chaos. Beautiful, creative, unstoppable chaos. We are the chaos of freedom. The chaos of growth. The chaos of hope. He paused, looking out at the mixed species crew of his ship. And chaos, it turns out, is exactly what the universe needed. The invasion would be repelled, though not without cost. The galactic democracy would survive and grow stronger. New species would join from distant regions, adding their own chaos to the mix. But perhaps the most important change was visible in the smallest details. On a human colony world, alien children played alongside human youngsters, their games a mixture of cultures that no single species could have imagined. On a Veltar trading station, former Council soldiers worked as security guards, protecting the same freedoms they had once tried to destroy. And in the assembly chamber on Zenthra, representatives from hundreds of worlds continued the endless, chaotic, wonderful work of democracy, arguing, debating, compromising, and slowly building a better future for everyone. The universe was vast and full of unknowns. But for the first time in galactic history, its inhabitants faced those unknowns, together as friends.